Karrion Kross has wrestled a match for Main Event as well as Bronson Reed, but he was without Scarlett in this match. And the rumor mill says they're going to try out Scarlett and Karrion Kross as separate acts to see how they would do as opposed to being together. Now, Finn, they've not exactly set the world on fire as an act together on NXT. I don't know if separating them is a good idea. I mean, you watch them more in Impact as well, so I think it's probably good to ask you here. I mean, what do you think? Keep them together, take them apart? What are the benefits to sort of splitting them or keeping them together?
I mean, they're not exactly dazzling people right now, are they? I'm not quite sure where it's all gone wrong for Karrion Kross, but it has, and it was very, very noticeable at the In Your House takeover, where the fans have kind of turned on him, and the way that match was laid out was for him not to be involved in it for too large portions of the match when he was thrown through the door. And then I think, was he thrown over the announce desk as well, or slammed onto the announce desk? No, he was powerbombed onto the announce desk, wasn't he? So he was kind of eliminated from the match for 2 quite long spells. And that's when the match really motored, when Karrion Kross, the defending champion, wasn't in it. And when he retained the belt, oh my God, the disappointment in the venue. I mean, people were like, oh, he's still champion? And Scarlett wasn't there. She came out at the entrance, disappeared backstage, which was understandable because there was so many people out there and they were doing all sorts of things outside the ring, so I get that. And then she came back out. She doesn't really seem to be enhancing the Karrion Kross act, and I don't know why, because in Impact, she had so much personality. She was effervescent, Kenny, so sparkly. She had so much to offer in terms of character. And they've just like deflated that balloon in NXT. And I don't know why. They've got this amazing entrance, all these special effects. But when that ends, it's like, the talent don't really match up to the push and the pyro.
All sizzle, no steak.
Sorry, Kenny?
Yeah. All sizzle, no steak.
Exactly. I mean, the talent, the presentation is A-list. It's A1. And Karrion and Scarlett are like C-list, maybe even D-list.
Listen, Finn, they would kill to be as over as boy band A1 were back in the day, back in 2001.
You're not wrong. And I can't even remember that band. It's everything he's doing there just feels like a disappointment. It just feels like there was these huge high hopes and expectations for him, and he hasn't come close to fulfilling them. And Scarlett should be a bigger part of the act and should be doing much more than she is. She should be like this, Black Widow type character. She should not. I don't mean Black Widow from the Marvel comics. I mean Black Widow like a femme fatale from the film Wars. This temptress. There's all these things that she should be doing, and they're hardly, utilizing her at all, never mind maximizing her character and her potential and her acting abilities. I mean, just go back and look at what she did in Impact. Okay, a lot of it was frivolous and, it was daft. Of course it was. But I mean, she was a lot of fun as a character, and she wasn't bad in the ring either. I'm not saying she was at the standard of the top women in NXT, certainly she's the standard of some of the women on Raw. Certainly not the standard of the top women on NXT. But she was pretty good. Check out a feud with Glenn Gilberti. Absolutely tremendous. Glenn Gilberti, what a heel performance by Glenn in his mini feud with Scarlett. That is what, if you haven't seen it, check that out. Glenn was absolutely tremendous as a heel and totally put Scarlett over. And she really held her own in that mixed match with Glenn. That is one to check out if you haven't seen it. So I think she does have a lot to offer this company, but it doesn't feel like she's anywhere near close to the level she should be at, given, the amount of, the investment that they put into this act. I just don't think there's been much of a return.
To me, she could almost be like a modern day Sensational Sherry or something, where she gets involved and it's like she helps. I almost think of like Zelina Vega when she would get involved in Andrade's matches. It's like be someone who gets involved and is, someone who you can't forget about that act, not just somebody who's like part of the entrance set. There's it kind of finishes at that point. So See, to be honest, I mean, in terms of breaking them up, I've never seen her wrestle, so I can't really comment on whether she would be better in the ring. But I mean, they're not setting the world on fire together. Separately, I mean, it depends what they do. But I think that she has a better chance of succeeding on her own than he does on his own. I think if he's on his own without her, I think he becomes just a very bland guy who, because, you know, at the end of the day, there will be people backstage who really like how Scarlett looks, and
Yeah.
you know, they'll be featured together. If she's taken away, I mean, he really could be anybody out of a lineup of like 20 male wrestlers who all
Yeah.
look the same.